up? It's your girl, Sasha Banks, the legit boss. You are watching Going In Raw. You like that?
Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. Of course, take live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. If you're watching this right after it gets uploaded to the YouTube, why don't you join us on the Twitch? You can hang out with us all night long.
All night.
For some Wrestle Kingdom, because we're going to be watching that live. Us suckers over here on the west coast of the United States of America get to start checking that out at midnight.
Pacific, yes.
I think that's probably better than how the East Coasters have it. They have to either try to sleep until 3 or just stay up till 3, and then they're up for until 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know who's got the short end of the stick with that.
And then if they're like us, to recap afterwards, add another hour or 20 minutes to that.
Suckers, just suckers. But we're talking about Monday Night Raw. We're on the road to the Royal Rumble, and it seems like we have Drew McIntyre's opponents for the Royal Rumble, a young up and coming, a sign of the future in the WWE. Who wants to? You go ahead and do the rant, Larson. Go ahead and do the rant. We got Goldberg. We got Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, Bill showed up.
Bill showed up. After
Goldberg.
A really fantastic.
It was a really fun main event.
A pay-per-view level main event between Drew McIntyre and somebody who truly should be a cornerstone of the future of the WWE, Keith Lee. I honestly thought we were going to get some big story development with Keith Lee. He got a champion's entrance. The legends there on the ramp, or on the stage rather, gave him their blessing as he walked down, at least visually. I thought, oh, wow, maybe he'll turn heel. Maybe he'll do something.
Yeah, he had an edge to him during the match when there's a backstage segment with him and Riddle. He was fairly dismissive of Riddle.
Yeah.
And then so we had a really great match. Keith Lee he and Drew just did a fist bump and he left. Mm-hmm. And then cue Goldberg's music.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
Yeah. So we got, so he comes out, he drops promo on Drew McIntyre. He baselessly claims
he made up motivation to come out. Drew, you don't respect the legends. You think you're better than us. You're better now in your prime than we ever were in our prime. You see us and we're just old and stuff. And it says none of us pose a threat to you. Well, that's 100% correct. Look at Drew.
Yeah.
So and then Drew gets the mic and is like, "Well, no, I respect everybody. I literally had to do this." Is what Drew was thinking. I literally just had to do that bit like an hour and a half earlier with Hulk Hogan. Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
That was that was cringe.
Yeah,
anyways, so Drew says, "Hey, Bill, look, I'm all about the respect, but look, you're not the Bill Goldberg you were 20 years ago. Fighting you now would be like fighting my dad." Which is a great line. And
that was
100% true.
Yeah.
And so Bill does his fake laugh, ha 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 ha, and Drew it's pretty intense, laughing back, and then Goldberg pushes Drew on his ass.
Yeah, and they were low on time because Drew was speed running his lines. And then they cut. I don't know if they intended for Drew just to sit on his ass, and they cut to Stone Cold. Hey, what's going on? I'm here with Rob Riggle.
There's a myriad of issues in play here that with Goldberg being involved. I understand they still think that Bill Goldberg is a bit of a draw. They want to get some eyeballs on that Royal Rumble pay-per-view of theirs. Never mind that the Royal Rumble premise, the gimmick of Royal Rumble, is a draw in and of itself. Nonetheless, they think people still want to watch Goldberg wrestle.
Well, Goldberg's a draw. I mean, look, man, he's got name recognition. He's a draw. His matches are terrible.
Yeah,
you and I have no.
Well, here's the
interest in
thing.
him,
I think here's the thing, though. I think early on when they brought Goldberg back for the Brock thing, draw because he's been gone forever. Now it's diminishing returns. I think everybody understands what Goldberg brings to the table. Not a whole lot. They understand that his matches are crap. They're about 3 minutes at best. And worst case scenario, he concusses himself and nearly hurts his opponent. I think a lot of people are understanding the situation that Goldberg finds himself at this juncture in his career. And yes, there's a novelty attached to Goldberg showing up. Is a match against Drew going to lead to a substantially more pay-per-view buys, whatever metric they use now for the Rumble, I'd be hesitant to say it'd be substantial. Slight bump, maybe. But is it worth bringing Goldberg out to challenge Drew McIntyre in lieu of building up what they've already got a decent story going with Sheamus, what they got going with Keith Lee, turn Keith Lee heel. It seemed like the ingredients were there for something like that to happen tonight. Rather than, again, it's the same old thing. Rather than advancing storylines which will push and elevate the talent they have on the roster now, in times of trouble, what do? Like they did tonight, bring a bunch of part-timers and legends out for the quick pop. And once that's gone, they're still in the same exact place they were, weeks, if not months prior.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with much of that. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are on what Goldberg brings in. I have no idea. I'm not privy to that stuff. But I agree with the meat of your argument in that what he symbolizes is simply WWE's inability or lack of desire to commit to new stars. I mean, back during during when people point at, the Attitude Era, for example, all their legends at that point were in WCW. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they could rely on that. They had to rely on what they had. They had to build new stars. And that's what they did. And, I don't know, man. I think that this, you do something with Keith Lee. You do something with him. Somebody here in chat mentioned this is, Goldberg. It's probably his last match under contract. I don't know about that. I hope that's the case. I thought
he had a couple more years with 2 matches per year.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what I thought. Don't hold me to that. That's not, I'm not sourcing that, but that's just what my memories tell me. But again, I'm on like 4.5 hours sleep, so I'm probably not a trusted source.
Well, no, that sounds kind of familiar. I mean, regardless, it's not like he'd say no to more matches. I mean, clearly he's interested.
He seems interested in doing more. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, I don't know. The main thing for me is that like the guy has proven that he can't put on a good match. Like he's incapable of doing that. Look at the Braun versus Goldberg match at WrestleMania this past year. It was just a finish fest, and it was garbage. So, and I mean, the really shitty thing too is you got to think about these, the current superstars, you guys like, Sheamus, who's obviously been around for a long time, but Keith Lee, he's newer. Riddle's making a name for himself. I mean, even Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, it's like these guys are, they've got this Raw. WWE has a stigma of like, well, we need ratings are low. We got to pop them. The current guys aren't doing it. So we got to bring in these legends. And it's just like, you use the term diminishing returns. Talk about diminishing returns with them bringing these legends in. Like this was by far like, and much of it just had to do with the simple fact that there was no crowd for them to get that cheap pop with. You couldn't even get that. It was like, and WWE, they don't know how to produce any effective segments. With Ric Flair, I thought Ric Flair was great tonight. I thought that I really liked the stuff with him and Charlotte. I thought that match was way more fun than it should have been. And I liked Ric Flair's involvement in it. I really liked him and Randy Orton backstage. I thought if you're going to bring in legends, that's how you do it. Not to indulge in this type of behavior, but AEW really does know how to use their legends,
They do. They use legends to advance and tell stories.
Yeah.
WWE brings legends in, by and large. I mean, there was that stretch where every week, when Flair was there, and it was helping to advance Orton's story at the time, and that was fine. But if you're bringing legends in for a 1-week deal, cheap pop, not using them on a consistent basis to advance stories, which elevates your talent on the roster now, it's lazy booking. Mm-hmm. It's lazy.
Yeah,
it's really lazy, and you're just WWE's just falling back on the old crutch of ratings are bad. We don't have faith in our current roster to bring the ratings up. Let's bring in the legends to get a 1-week pop, and hopefully that's enough to get enough eyeballs in there where I guess people will keep watching in the future. I don't even know the logic behind that,
on top of that, it's like who do they think we're tuning in to see?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hulk again?
No.
I mean, I get it. Hulk is a mainstream name. He's a big name. That's fine. But like, God bless IRS, Bray Wyatt's dad, and, Tatanka, look, that's awesome that WWE's giving these guys a paycheck for a night. I think that's rad. But like, if you're just going to have them stand there doing nothing, what purpose does it serve?
Yes, sir, no purpose.
Get them involved somehow.
Yeah,
have them do something that would advance stuff. At least Randy Orton was going around and talking some crap to some of them. But I mean, even when he was talking crap, it was guys that he had actually, it was like, Mark Henry and Big Show.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get right into this.
Well, here, let's indulge in a little bit of baseless speculation. So we got this WWE title match. Let's get this out of the way because people
this is good.
Have brought this up. So let's talk about it because this crossed my mind too.
Where's this going now? Yeah.
Yeah, and we've heard rumors for a while of WWE wanting a Goldberg. I mean, that was supposed to be the match at Mania last year, Goldberg and Reigns.
Yeah.
We heard that was in the cards potentially for Mania this year now too. Now, Bill shows up on Raw tonight, challenges Drew at the Rumble. So, assuming they still want the Reigns match at Mania, Bill and Roman, I mean, there's pretty much two avenues they go. They have Bill pick up that title and do a winner-takes-all bout at Mania, which seems outside the realm of possibility, but if they're desperate, like really desperate, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, okay.
The alternative is Bill loses and then just shows up on SmackDown a couple weeks after Rumble and says, well, yeah, I want that now.
So it could be any of these things. They are, I mean, there is an air of desperation for sure. So I guess why not use Goldberg ad nauseum until WrestleMania? That is a legitimate concern. It really is. That's possible. What you're talking about is not outside the realm of possibility.
No. Likely, no. Possible, yes.
My what I figure is happening is they figured out what they want to do with Roman, and
it's not Goldberg.
Originally, it was going to be Goldberg, but they're saving that for like another time. And what they're going to do instead is Drew versus Goldberg at the Rumble, which was set up tonight. And like Drew, it's going to be the thing is Drew versus Goldberg as opposed to Roman versus Goldberg, which is where it seemed to have been going. And that probably would have been the Rumble. Maybe they were just like, hey, we actually really like, the chemistry between Roman and Kevin Owens. They got a good thing going. We'll do them at the Rumble. Takes a big name, Kevin Owens, sort of out of the Rumble, for somebody else. And then, instead we'll just shift Goldberg over to Drew. I mean, the scheduling of the Legends Night might have been, sort of, hey, we can kill two birds with one stone. We can motivate Goldberg even being there, to come out and challenge Drew, even though he doesn't need a Legends Night to do that. We could motivate it. And we can try to
be on the show tonight.
And we can try to pop the ratings. Maybe that was decided when Legends Night was decided upon a couple weeks ago. If that was in the cards a couple weeks ago, I don't know. But I'm still hoping for. I think a really killer story could be told with Brock versus Roman at Mania. You can do Roman versus Kevin Owens at the Rumble, and then Brock.
Or you could also do Brock versus Drew again at Mania, especially if they have designs on having people in the crowd.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, I kind of feel like if Brock is looking to retire, and you've got this Paul Heyman thing, you've got the tribal chief thing, you can maybe. My guess would be this: they did, and I know it'd be in front of fans, depending on how things are going. I was reading up today on some of the ideas that apparently the new administration wants to do with vaccination rollout, and they're talking about like mobile units and stuff, which I thought was a great idea. But if there are fans at Mania, yeah, maybe they'd want to redo Brock versus Drew. But Brock versus Drew is it was sort of a perfect torch passing for Drew. I'm not sure they'd want to revisit that if it didn't mean, hey, we've got like an amazing built-in story for Brock Roman and Vince McMahon finally getting the Brock Roman that people would be interested in for once. I think that might be too good of a situation to turn out if Brock was interested.
Possibly. And that's kind of a huge if Brock is indeed interested. Otherwise, Raw, another kind of middle of the road situation with Raw. Kind of some good, some bad, a lot just kind of whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Raw these days. I mean, you know, at the head of almost every Raw recap, you say, well, it's 3 hours is too long, which is always the thing. But, like, we've had good Raws before that have been 3 hours.
Yeah, a lot of it's, I feel like a lot of it's pacing. Like, you kick off, I mean, Miz TV is always the energy vampire of any episode of Raw. When you kick off an episode of Raw with Miz TV, you're getting off on the wrong foot. I turned it on.
Yeah.
And I saw Miz TV was on. I was running a couple minutes late. And I'm like, I don't want to watch Raw tonight. This is not how I want it to start. I don't want to watch it.
Dude, I kind of feel like I don't even know if it's pacing. It's just there's a spark missing with their stories. You know, I mean, some of it's pacing. Some of it is like, you know, you always know you're going to get filler, like the 24/7 scene. And this is nothing that we haven't talked about sort of on a macro level before, you know, the problems with Raw. We've talked about this stuff. But, you know, I don't know, man. There's just a spark missing with the stories that they're telling. Yeah, when you start the episode, you know, well, number one, okay, so they actually started it. We'll just dive into it, man.
There's a Hogan thing that started the episode, right?
What was that?
I didn't see it. It was him on the phone.
I wish you would have seen it because I didn't understand what the hell was happening.
He was on the phone. Could you hear what he was saying?
So it starts off with it's like a close up of his phone. Maybe somebody in chat can like nail this for us. There's a close up of Hogan's phone. And it's like a dusty old iPhone 7. But it's got like the Hulkamania logo on it. And he starts talking about like the Hulk phone or the Hogan phone or Phonomania or something like that.
All right.
And he's like, with this you can do, the H phone. Is that what he called it? And he was like, you can do Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and whatever at Facebook on this phone, brother. And like the little icons appeared as graphics on the screen. And then he picked it up and he said, you got to ask yourself, what's the H phone or the Hogan phone, whatever it was. It's going to run all over you. It was honestly so confusing. I was simply confused at what was happening on my screen.
It was like a commercial for some sort of branded Hulk Hogan mobile device. Is that what it felt like?
But it was just his phone. Oh, okay. So hold on a second. Somebody says, Big Dom Stead says, was it a throwback to a Hulk hotline back in the day? Yeah, okay, maybe.
That's kind of an obscure reference for viewers today.
And it wasn't even like, because it wasn't a very literal one either.
Because WWE's target demo or top demo was 50 plus. Maybe it isn't that obscure.
I think that it was. Yeah, you can put it in large text, brother. I don't know, man. I don't know. I was legitimately confused by this opening segment. I was like, this is Legends Night. You've got Hulk Hogan. I understand the implications for many of us in the audience and at our, you know, our varying levels of how much we want to see Hulk Hogan. I was really confused by this. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a comedy bit, but
that's weird to open up with a comedy, like a confusing comedy bit. That might be worse than opening with Miz TV. Mm-hmm. Anyways, Raw for me opened up with Miz TV. Miz and Morrison go on, hyping up tonight's show. And then Miz is like, also, he puts himself over. Miz says tonight's Legends Night, first Raw of the new year. He's thinking it's going to be a great year for Miz and Morrison. New Day come out. They're the guests on Miz TV. They hit the ring and they say, hey, we have talk show now. New Day talks.
Yeah.
And Miz like, what are you doing? Kofi says it's going to be like a cookout. Miz and Morrison aren't invited, but he says their show has it all. At this juncture, my internet was a little wonky, so I missed all the individual bits for the thing, for the show. And then Kofi just asks him, you got any New Year's resolutions? Miz is like, no. Morrison goes on about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Morrison was actually pretty funny here. Morrison's so good. It's a crime, dude. You didn't miss anything here. This was silly. Even the New Day couldn't save this segment.
It's because they're always too long. These Miz TV segments are too long.
Yeah, it's like a black hole, man. It just absorbs. Whatever whoever's involved with this gets absorbed into like.
It's like the Rawgate Mutants segment of Raw.
Exactly. So, anyways, long story short, this leads to Teddy Long coming out and trying to make a match between Miz and Morrison and The Undertaker, which was actually kind of a funny bit. Adam Pearce comes out and tells him Taker's retired, but he can make the match a tag match between Miz and Morrison and The New Day. So that match happens next. The match was a fine enough match. You know, we got lots of Morrison, and he's great. At one point, he clocked Xavier Woods with a forearm, and you see Woods down there, and he hits him with a receipt. It was kind of great. In the end, Xavier Woods gets the pin on Morrison with a Shining Wizard.
Yeah. So the WWE on Fox put a little clip up of what happened after the show went off the air tonight. Drew gets up and like kind of headbutts Bill. You know, like pushes his head into Bill's head and kind of pushes him forward.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And that's it.
Thought he gave him like a shoot Glasgow kiss, because Goldberg likes that kind of interaction between his head and stuff.
Yeah, he likes his head hitting things.
Right.
After that, we had a brief Orton Alexa Bliss recap. So, you know, like they had that cliffhanger last week about where Orton looked like he might be about to light Alexa Bliss on fire.
Yeah.
No Alexa Bliss tonight.
Yeah, but he confirmed that he didn't light her on fire. I mean, maybe she took some time. Dude, she poured gasoline on herself. She took some time off. She's like, that was intense. I need to stay away from a week. I'm fine with that. Anyways, he confirms.
Advanced stories. Anyways, yeah, he confirms, he couldn't do it. He showed Bliss compassion and mercy for that. He hates himself. Then he realized that he can mold that hatred he has for himself, and now he is capable of doing anything and everything. He says, Charlie, can you imagine if I directed that newfound hatred towards someone else? He says, I don't want. She asked about the Fiend, so I don't want to talk about Fiend anymore. Right now, I'm gonna go for a walk, and find me some legends and have a talk. Remind them why I am the Legend Killer.
Legend Killer, yeah. No, we kind of disagree on this. I actually thought this was a fine way to, because I mean, clearly he didn't burn her to death.
No, clearly. I mean, we saw that on Raw Talk afterwards, where there's no charring or anything in the ring.
Yeah. So after that, we had a recap from the New Year's Eve stream where Garza won the 24/7 title from R-Truth. So then we get Garza backstage at Raw. He runs into legend Alicia Fox. She makes some sort of weird TikTok reference. Then he sees Slaughter. Mickie James. Is she a legend now?
I mean, she is, but whether she's considered a legend or an active competitor, I don't know.
That's what I figured. And Tatanka in full ring gear. My note here is it's awkward and stupid, and fuck this Legends Night shit. We don't have an ad tonight, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay,
cool. So, yeah, no, I agree. Like, why are these three individuals standing there for no reason? Like, motivate why people are gathering together.
So,
are they conversing about something? Is there something that unites them? Something they'd want to talk about together?
Kayfabe, right? Okay. WWE is producing a show, right? They're producing a show. The only time the legends show up in front of the Thunderdome crowd, which is supposed to be the crowd that is in attendance watching this, along with us at home, the legends never actually come out except the very end to be on the stage to watch the match.
With the exception of Ric Flair walking Charlotte out to the ring.
Yes, correct, which I've already said. They did a really good job with Ric Flair.
Yeah, that was good.
That's how you should do it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bizarre. So anyways, there's just this stuff with Garza and Slaughter calls him a maggot.
Yeah, because he gives Mickie James the rose.
So, I hear you are stolen valor. You are never in the military.
After that, AJ Styles versus Elias. Elias learned some wrestling moves from Jackson Riker, doing that sit-down chokeslam bomb thing during the course of the match. Anyways, AJ won with a Styles clash after reversing a powerbomb into Uranus. Anyways, Riker hits the ring with Elias's acoustic guitar, takes a swing at AJ. AJ ducks, and Amos.
Yeah.
You say his name now. They changed the pronunciation of his name.
Almost.
After AJ ducks, kicks the heck out of that guitar, obliterates it.
It was a really, really, really awesomely coordinated sequence, and Riker sold it, super bigly.
Pretty well.
He did a great job selling that. But yeah, almost. That was a really cool moment there. Really good showing from him.
You got used to saying Amos.
No, I don't. Almost. Otherwise, I'm not going to say it right. I'm already
There's
not
no
saying
L.
it right.
You're not. There's no L in it.
Well, I'm trying to make the L really subtle because it's the only way I know how to say it. It's like almost. Or
Amos.
Edward James, almost.
Yeah, there's an L in his name. There's not an L in Amos' name.
Amos. How do I know they're going to change it next week? Rather
They
just
might.
say it my way. Anyways,
It's not your
after
way. It's
that-
their way before they changed it. Your way would be your own pronunciation.
All right. After that, we had a Charlotte interview. She said, "Don't listen to your critics." Like Larson, she says, "I won the Rumble last year because I didn't listen to my critics." After that, we had the Big Show and Matt Riddle chatting it up. What was this about the Big Bro?
You just said, hey, Show, you ever considered calling yourself the Big Bro?
Okay.
That's it. That was the extent of it. Anyways, Riddle's like, I got a match against Lashley. I'm going to go now. So Orton steps in.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Show, how does it feel now that your career's over? And Big Show's like, no, I can get back in the ring if I want to. And then Orton grabs Big Show by the throat.
Yeah, this is a weird thing here.
I thought this was really good.
Okay.
At least Orton's part of it. It got kind of weird during this conversation. It kind of went on a little long. So he grabs Big Show by the throat. And Orton's getting trashed like, hey, you're just out here with the legends now. You can't compete. And Big Show says, well, I'm proud to be out there with the legends. And Orton says, well, basically said, hey, do something about me coming up here and bullying you. You're not going to, are you? It just takes a lot of balls for Orton. I know Orton's a large dude.
Yeah,
Step up to the world's largest athlete.
Okay, I agree with that completely. And I even agree up to the point when he does he grabs him by the throat. It's what happened immediately after, because Big Show just sort of like smiles and laughs and then sits down, and Orton still goes with him. It's like they didn't quite plot out, okay, should my hand still be here? Why it seemingly isn't very effective on him because he's kind of no-selling it. I don't know if that was supposed to be... Was that Big Show showing like subservience to him?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because he was sort of chuckling, and I was like, it doesn't really seem like he's selling all that much.
Well, I think it was a chuckle of like, oh, he's got me.
Oh,
that's why I read it.
Okay, all right. After that, we had Charlotte and Asuka versus Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. We had an awful picture-in-picture promo with Lacey and Peyton. They still have no chemistry, but this match was actually really, really fun the entire time. Fun. Lacey was trying to flirt with the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair, much to Charlotte's chagrin, and that ended up costing Charlotte and Asuka the match. This is actually pretty funny, dude.
Yeah, that was an unexpected result. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Eventually, at one point, Charlotte gets the hot tag. She goes on a run, tries to hit Exploder on Lacey Evans. She escapes that. Royce tags herself in. Charlotte ends up hitting Exploders on both of them. Goes up top, tags in Asuka. Charlotte hits the moonsault on both of them. Asuka follows the Shining Wizard on Peyton Royce, gets a 2, looks for the Asuka lock. Royce doubles out. Asuka hits Codebreaker. Charlotte follows with Natural Selection. You think the match is over? No, Lacey Evans runs in, breaks up the pin. She snaps Asuka's neck across the second rope, and then she's out there flirting with Ric Flair. She's like kind of sitting there on the apron. And then Charlotte comes out of nowhere and just knocks her off onto the floor.
She had like Ric Flair by the tie. She was about to start sucking face with the guy.
Seemingly. So Charlotte and Peyton are in. They're running the ropes. Rick thinks Peyton's about to run towards him, just kind of no look, sticks his hand out, trips to trip her up. Little does he know, he tripped up his own daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Royce rolls up Charlotte after that to get the win. Lacey runs down, plants a kiss on Flair's cheek, and then Charlotte gets down to the floor right in her dad's face and tells her to stay out of my business again. You got it? Now back up. Get out of here.
I love that everything Ric Flair does these days, it's not like we see him all that often, but last time we saw him, he was doing everything he could to get Randy Orton over, and now he's doing, just in this one appearance, he did everything he could to show everybody, hey, what does he say now? He's like, Charlotte's not Ric Flair's daughter. I'm Charlotte's dad. Trying to get her over. I think it's great. I thought he was very effective here.
I thought so too. I thought so too. So after that, Drew's backstage. Sheamus walks up to him. Sheamus like, hey, you ready for your match? Drew says, yeah. I'm going to show the legends the title's in good hands tonight. Sheamus asks Drew to give Lee an extra kick for him. And Drew goes, I will. And he goes on about something else. And God damn it. Hulk Hogan's lurking there. He and Jimmy Hart enter. Hogan just starts spouting a bunch of nonsense, how he's Sheamus's #1 fan. He probably met him for the first time that night. What?
Did you notice that he comes in and he does the whole champ tiger thing? He says, hey, big fella, I'm a big fan of you. And hey, champ, I think you're doing a great job. Not once did he say Sheamus or Drew.
No,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he knows their names. It's possible he doesn't know Sheamus's name.
Yeah,
he did call him fella, which is Sheamus's thing.
Yeah, I guess that's easier to remember than Sheamus. No, I noticed that too. He didn't refer to either of them by name. And so he's like, Drew, I'm real proud. Or sorry, brother, to Drew, I'm proud of how well you're representing WWE. And of course, everything has to come, when it comes to Hogan, everything has to come back to him. It's like, brother, you remind me of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew, it's like, oh, thanks, Hulkster. and then asked Sheamus if Sheamus reminds Hogan of Jimmy Hart. Sheamus is like, haha, not funny. Wishes Drew luck, says we'll see y'all later for drinks. And then Drew then has to do the Hogan catchphrase.
Yeah.
The whole what you gonna do thing.
Yeah. Well, they do it on Keith Lee also. That's your Friendo merch tone deaf moment of the night. Go to friendomerch.com. All the latest and going in raw merchandise. You can get it right there. We still have holiday prices. friendomerch.com.
Yeah.
It's your Friendo merch tone deaf moment of the night.
Oh gosh. So after that, Matt Riddle versus Bob Lashley. This is an interesting way to have someone tap out but not tap out. So it's a fun enough match. Lashley more or less had the upper hand for a majority of it. Anyways, Riddle goes up top. Lashley just picks him up off the top rope, hits a Dominator right into the Hurt Lock. And Riddle does a thing where he kind of walks up the ropes and springs backwards to try to escape. But Lashley doesn't let go. But in the process, the ref is out of position. Riddle's tapping. Ref doesn't see it. But Lashley feels it, so he lets go. And he's wondering why the ref's not calling the match. Again, Riddle rolls up Lashley to get the win.
Yeah, I thought this is a good way to protect Lashley, to elevate their story. Thought this was pretty cool.
Let me ask you something. So Lashley gets hit with like a final flash. He gets hit with some move. Kicks out at 1.
Yeah.
All right. A mere roll up. Can't kick out of it.
Well, you know,
the element of surprise, I understand. That's like a second and a half, but you have a whole another second and a half to like just push your legs up. You know.
I don't know what Lashley's. I don't know if the mindset is. If the mindset is I've already won this match, what the hell is happening right now? And on top of that, maybe if your head's not in the game, you know, there could be certain guys who are just built in a way where a simple roll up is difficult to get out of. You know?
There's Baron Corbin. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Baron Corbin especially.
That's
Matt Riddle knows what he's doing.
It's just one thing I noticed. It's a small thing that throughout the match, Lashley was kicking out at 1 on everything, basically.
Yeah.
And then he just gets rolled up. I don't know.
Well, it's one thing for a powerhouse like Lashley to be able to withstand pain. You know, that's his thing. He can take that and kick out at 1. But if he's in the middle of an intellectual argument with a ref over, hey, what's going on with this match? Or, you know, this guy just tapped out. Sorry. No, that's right. Because, he thought that Riddle tapped out.
And
he was like, hey, this match is over. You know, I'm done. And then all of a sudden, whoa, I'm going backwards. Why is that happening now? I give Bob Lashley the benefit of the doubt, man. But I see your point. I mean, any roll-up, honestly, is silly and should be kicked out of. It's just sometimes they're able to do them better.
Yeah,
like the Lana one on Nia Jax made all the sense in the world. Sometimes they make a lot of sense.
But when you're just doing a roll-up with one arm, especially a dude the size of Lashley, like he should just kick out that easily, you know?
Might have made more sense if Riddle, you know, on the sly had some sort of leverage on a rope or something, maybe.
Or hits a knee to his back or something.
Yeah, that could be.
Anyway,
that's not a bad point.
Ricochet is having a conversation with Mark Henry backstage. Mark Henry's kind of giving Ricochet a pep talk. You know, Ricochet has been going through a rough spell in this feud against Retribution. Ricochet says, I'm just trying to hang on. He appreciates Henry talking to him. Ricochet leaves. Randy Orton enters. And he's like, I've been meaning to catch up with you, Mark Henry. And during the course of this, he just mentions kind of offhand that he's going to be in the Rumble. And he's like, well, you know, I'm guessing you're not going to be in the Rumble this year, given all the wear and tear on your body is caught up with you. Because he was rolling around with those little scooters. You know, the ones where he's like, I guess he has some sort of lower leg injury. So he puts his leg on the scooter and kind of walks on that. He says, well, given you're on a scooter now, you probably won't be competing in a Rumble again. He says, I wonder how fast it goes. And Henry says, well, it goes fast enough to get away from you. Orton puts the brakes on, stops, and says, I want to talk to you about the old days. You know, you hit me with several World's Strongest Slams, and I feel like I owe you some receipts. But I will give you a pass if you pedal your ass out of this arena.
Oof. Mark Henry had to swallow his pride and pedal away.
This is all about Randy Orton going up to legends and trying to either instigate a fight or humiliate them.
Oh, yeah, man. Tired of these legends. Hey, they got off easier than they did last time, though.
It's true.
After that, we had MVP and Lashley. They had an interview with Charlie. MVP is, you know, they're obviously both pretty upset. He's like, Riddle quit. What happened was a travesty. Lashley said something like, I'm going to punish his punk ass. After that, Mandy Rose and Shayna Baszler were apparently supposed to have a match. She walks out. Before she gets to the ring, she's attacked by Shayna Baszler. Dana Brooke runs out to make the save, gets in the ring, and in the moment just challenges Shayna instead. I thought that was pretty cool for Dana Brooke. Shayna gets Dana in the clutch, but Dana rolls her back and pins Shayna for the 3. Shayna doesn't let go. Mandy comes in for the save, and they both pancake Shayna to stand tall. Thought it was a pretty decent segment, pretty quick.
Yeah. Next, Ric Flair, IRS, and Molly Holly again, backstage for some reason. Who knows why?
Prime rib.
Orton. Well, they weren't by catering, I don't think. And none of them had plates.
Post prime rib, man.
Well, I think they'd be sitting then, because that's a heavy meal.
They had to gas it up somewhere, man.
Maybe they were beefing in one of the corridors of Tropicana Field. Anyway, so Orton rolls in. IRS and Molly Holly's like, all right, we'll see you later. So Orton's like, hey, Rick, how you doing? You know, I was thinking for old time's sakes, you walk me down the ring, just so long as you promise not to mess up like you did that match your daughter was in. And Flair says, well, I'm never going to walk down the ring with you again. Orton does the whole thing about, hey, you taught me everything I know, but now the only thing keeping you relevant is your daughter is Charlotte. She's 10 times the competitor that you ever were. Asked how Rick's head is doing after he punted him, and said, now when I look at Flair, you look like the man, you sound like him, but the man I see in front of me is not the one that taught me everything I know. He's just a pathetic old man. And then he leaves.
After that, we had Matt Riddle and Keith Lee backstage chatting up a little bit. Riddle gives Keith a bit of a pep talk. Like you mentioned earlier, Keith Lee looked like he might have had something else on his mind.
Yeah, because Riddle's like, I know you don't need it, but I'm going to give you some good luck. Think about it. New year, new champ. Keith Lee's like, thanks for the pep talk. Riddle goes, all right, I got to go. And Keith Lee, in just like the most understated way possible, like he's not even paying attention, Matt Riddle just goes, see you later.
Yeah, who's told moments before that Goldberg's taking a spot at the Rumble. Let's see. After that, we had Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. These two always have really good chemistry, man. They went back to the old spot where Randy Orton was messing with his the hole in his ear lobe for the gauges.
Yeah.
He's putting his fingers in that and twisting around and stuff. In the end, though, Jeff Hardy eats an RKO to get Randy Orton the win off of a Twist of Fate attempt.
Yeah, that was good. Next, we have Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik backstage. They walk up to Melina. They ask her if she's there for the Lucha Legends celebration or Lucha Legends night, and then she starts doing the Lucha chant. They do it too because they have a
totally
match
normal way for people to interact.
100%.
You come up to somebody, hey, good to see you again. Lucha. Hilton, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Next, we have Cedric Alexander, Prime Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin against Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado.
Hey, man, you want to make a trade for that Hurt Business right there? Because they seem to be falling apart at the seams.
They do seem falling apart. I
Oh
feel
gosh.
pretty confident Lashley's going to have the U.S. title for a little bit, though.
Probably. I don't know about these tag titles, man, because this was not a very long match. It was pretty quick before Cedric started blind tagging himself in, much to Shelton's chagrin. They just started immediately beefing in the ring, led to Shelton eating a pin. MVP gets super pissed, and they all just fight ringside. MVP's like, we're supposed to be winning. We're supposed to be a team. And Cedric's like, well, I didn't get pinned. I'm on the same page. I'm on my page.
And then he walks off.
Yep.
Next, Torrie Wilson. She's chatting with Nikki Cross backstage. Angel Garza walks up, asks Torrie if she will accept his rose. And she says, I invited Cardi B, Ariana Grande, and somebody else. What was the other name?
I forget.
I was trying to type notes and I missed it. Anyways, so it says they're just right over there. Go around there. They're right in there. And so Garza, fresh off winning that 24/7 title, goes back there. He enters the room. It's all shrouded in red light. It's the Boogeyman's dressing room.
Kylie Jenner was the other one.
That's right.
Thank you, Tony V.
Thank you. Boogeyman turns around and says, I'm the Boogeyman. Garza runs out of there. Truth rolls him up to reclaim that 24/7 title. And Garza's starting to get up. In walks Ron Simmons. He says, damn.
Yep.
And then we get to our main event. Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee. Stellar match. They gave it a ton of time.
Oh, man.
Drew started his entrance, I think, before 7:30.
Yeah, it was right about 7:30. He did his entrance.
I think it was 7:28. I think I looked at the clock. It's 7:28 when he started.
There you
Gave
go.
it a ton of time. It delivered. For the longest time, by and large, Drew McIntyre kicks out at 1 on basically anything except for like the last quarter of the match.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot of near falls to Drew McIntyre. If he gets covered more often than not, he's kicking out at 1. That wasn't the case in this match. He was really putting over Keith Lee's strength and his power. And I appreciate that. It's a real subtle thing. But I think apart from the first 1 or 2 covers, Drew was kicking at it 2 as opposed to 1 on everything else.
Dude, the Keith Lee was dominant during probably like 70% of this match. Our first commercial break of the match saw Keith Lee. I mean, he had been manhandling Drew, pounces him over the barricade.
Yeah, that was
great. We go to commercial break. Dominated much of the match. Drew came back with a big overhead belly to belly. Lee takes back over with like that one-arm power bomb thing that he does. Lee gets on the apron. He has Drew on the outside. He gets on the apron. He's starting to chat up the ref a little bit.
Yeah.
When Drew comes to, grabs him, and he power bombs him like on the corner of the commentary table.
Sucked.
Looked like a half step too not
too
close
early.
enough. Yeah, too early. Drew ends up hitting a future shock. Gets 2 on that. They do this awesome like Spanish fly. That
Off the
man,
top, yeah.
Dude, yeah. Keith Lee was, that was scary. In any event, Drew loads up the Claymore. Lee catches it. This is the first time I think I've seen somebody catch a Claymore.
Yeah.
But Drew gets out of that and hits a Claymore moments later for 3.
Yeah.
Stellar match.
Really good. Physical. They were beating the hell out of each other.
They pay respects. Keith Lee quantum leaps out, and Goldberg walks. His music hits. Goldberg walks down. Says, we talked about this at the beginning, goes on a spiel about how Drew evidently doesn't respect people, thinks that, Drew's better than all the legends, that he could beat them all in his prime. And I'm trying to think of who's on that stage. Now, Drew versus Hulk Hogan, obviously, nobody's going over Hogan.
Well, I mean, that's in his contract, so no.
Right. But
that's more legalities as opposed to ability.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, look, wrestling is legalities. That's what it is. I mean, and what Vince McMahon likes. I'm just thinking like Drew at his prime versus Big Show at his prime. Drew's going to go over. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. Drew versus Ron Simmons. I love Ron Simmons. Drew goes over. IRS, that's a squash match for Drew.
Virtually, yes.
Slaughter at his prime, it's maybe an even more of an even matchup. Maybe.
Yeah, I think Drew goes over.
Drew goes over. Who else?
Booker T was up there.
Oh, yeah. Booker T was up there. Why didn't he have a segment tonight?
I don't know.
He's like the most entertaining guy at Legends Night.
Far and away.
That's a hell of a match, Drew versus Booker T in his prime.
Yeah, that's WrestleMania event right
how
there.
much would you have popped? You take Goldberg out, and instead of Goldberg's music hits, yes.
Oh, man.
No.
That would have saved my night. I would have had energy to last through 3 more nights of Wrestle Kingdom if Booker T had walked
comes
out the
down
ring and said, Drew, you got everything. You got the look. You got the talent, the athleticism. What you don't have is respect.
Sucker.
Challenges from that WWE title. Oh, I would have popped. I would have
popped so hardcore. That'd have been great.
That'd have been amazing. Instead, we get Goldberg. but then Drew was like, nope, I'm all about respect. I mentioned this at the beginning, but I'll say it again because it's a great line. You're not the dude you were 20 years ago. Fighting you now be like fighting my own dad. And the Goldberg just does this. Goldberg's terrible at trash talk. He just goes, oh, yeah?
Yeah, dude, it was like the backstage thing with him and Riddle. Like, he has that awkward, nervous laugh because he can't come up with anything. Well, first of all, I'm not your bro. Really? That's what you got? That's what you got? Lucky you have your shoes on. What?
It's confusing. You're just confusing us, Bill.
You're just confusing me like the H phone.
So anyways, show ends with Goldberg pushing Drew on his butt. But according to what they posted on Twitter, Drew did get up and get in Goldberg's face.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Raw. Let's answer a few questions. Yeah, Snare Freak with the sub. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Snare Freak. Raw QA thread. Here it is on the Patreon. You can have your question answered right here on the show via the Patreon, or if you hang out in our Twitch chat during our live show. Let's see here. Church Jackson. Are you shocked the Thunderdome could fit Hogan and Flair's egos under one roof? Brother. Flair, don't dog Flair's ego. That dude put over everybody.
Instead of Flair, I'd probably say Goldberg. He wouldn't lose to the Fiend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hugh Longheavy, Goldberg wasn't even good in his prime. Literally the worst wrestler to touch this earth. He politics to hold down better, younger stars. What dumbass headbutts doors till he bleeds. He is the epitome of everything wrong in WWE.
Yeah, but I used to pop for Goldberg, man. I admit that. I thought he was pretty rad. Just not anymore. And I always knew that he was a crap wrestler.
He was a crap wrestler.
I thought he was rad.
I've never
Alex
really
Foster.
thing.
Alex Foster. If Seth had J&J Security, what wrestler in WWE would you guys like to be the henchman for? Kevin Nash. I'd want to be the henchman for Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
He just seems like a cool dude.
Could we be the henchman for Baron Corbin? Knights of the Slow Wolf Pack?
We'd eat well.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, we would. Yeah, that dude probably hooks up some good prime rib.
Dylan, Nirvana fan, I was watching NXT from a few weeks ago, and one of the refs called Raquel Gonzalez by her shoot name, Reina. Also, power rank which NXT wrestlers should be in the men's and women's rumbles. I think Bronson Reed and Raquel are pretty likely. I think whoever loses the Raquel Rhea Ripley match on Wednesday is probably going to be in the rumble. Could be. So probably Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about Bronson Reed. I don't know why he was gone for that period of time.
I don't either.
Wolfpack for life. How much will the ratings of this Legends Raw affect the likelihood of part-timers returning and taking over the main event storylines? I don't think the ratings of this particular episode will affect much of anything. I mean, dude,
it's a 1 week Band-Aid is what this is.
I don't know how many more. I mean, this is legitimately the thing. How many more part-timers do they have? Like, I mean, how many more like legends can they bring back? I mean, it's you know, I mean, I know there's been a little bit of chatter about Austin being in shape and him potentially, like him sort of, you know, commenting here and there about how he'd be good doing another match. I don't want to see that. I mean, I would pop, but man, that dude's legacy is set. It's intact, you know?
There's two names. You mentioned one, the other one's CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
If Vince were to open up the checkbook. And
dude, with their creative is so crap. I don't know.
I know. I mean, yeah, unless he said, "Okay, I'll take your paycheck, but I want carte blanche. I want to do what I want to do."
Yeah,
and it was ironclad in his contract. I don't see any reason otherwise why he'd do it, because he knows the frustration that comes with working with that company.
Yeah, I mean,
from a creative standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I mean, I don't know if it would be. Let's say AEW offered him $1 million for a year with 5 matches. And WWE offered him 3 years at $5 million a year.
Yeah,
you know, but you're going to deal with the bullshit, and you're going to do what Vince wants you to do.
Yeah,
I don't know what he does. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not the man. I'm not him. I don't know what's going on in his head, but he does seem to value, you know. And apparently WWE hasn't been opening the checkbook up. You saw that Fightful report about how they're going around asking people to re-sign, and like they're not as good,
lowballing them. And people are like, no.
Like it's a bunch of Lex Lugers.
Wolverine, we know the Miz is going to cash in at the Rumble, but can we have him cash in the week before and get it over with? Well, if he cashed in
on Drew, like squashing Goldberg,
yeah, it's going to be a 3-minute match.
It's not going to be a long enough match for him to cash in. I don't think it's going to happen at the Rumble.
No. Racing Maiku is continuing the gift sub they got from Ears of Justice. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Hopefully you've enjoyed the bonus content. We're going to be power ranking tomorrow live at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you're a Friendo Club TV member via YouTube channel membership, $5 and up on the Patreon, or, of course, the Twitch sub. David Matushek says, who should win the Royal Rumble in the men's and women's division, even if WWE is foreshadowing each outcome? I think Brock is going to be a surprise Rumble winner, man. That's what I think.
I'm going to say Daniel Bryan. I know he's on his way out. You know, he's got a few months left. Maybe he doesn't get another title run like I predicted. Maybe they'll give him that Rumble win.
Could be. What about in the women's? I still firmly believe it's going to be Bayley winning the women's.
I feel like it's either Bayley or Bianca Belair. Alan J. Goldberg is equivalent to a 50-year-old man talking about his high school football career.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. Gregory Fiala. Will the Raw ratings be the highest they've been in months since they advertised Legends Raw so much? I don't, dude, I just don't think that like your normal Legends Raw has much of a draw anymore. I do think that it would have been interesting had, now that we're going to have a build to the Rumble, to your point of if Goldberg is a draw anymore, we're going to find out, if he can bring any viewers over. Because now that he's here, he's going to be, probably on Raw one of these next 3 episodes.
Yeah. 4 episodes. There's 4 more.
Yeah, but I know. But like they'll do a video package one episode.
Oh, I know.
Or he'll do a Zoom call or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know. He'll show up in the Thunderdome again. Yeah. Yeah,
but like because they'll advertise if he's going to be there, they'll probably actually advertise it as opposed to just a video thing. Yeah. And we'll see if anybody tunes in for that, man.
Aberson 97 says Goldberg still has 4 matches under his current contract, but Stevens J says he has 2. So who knows? I knew it was like a 2 match a year thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, the First Assassin says 2 matches per year until 2023.
Okay.
So I guess that's actually 3 years.
Sleazy Mo, are there any wrestlers whose reckless style makes you worry about them eventually having a career-ending injury? I don't know if I'd call it reckless, but ticking time bomb certainly freaks me out when I see him in the ring.
Yeah, that's a good answer. For a spell, Kota Ibushi. He's not reckless by any stretch, but he's taken some really bad bumps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Forbesy, what is the lesser of 2 evils, Goldberg versus Reigns or Goldberg versus Drew? Well, we said before, I think that if Goldberg versus Roman is a must, we'd much rather have it at the Rumble.
Yeah,
do it, get it out of the way.
So, I mean, this is probably the lesser of all the evils. I mean, Drew is the B champion. He's the guy when Roman doesn't want to work, who works. And maybe this is a case of Roman saying, I don't want to work against Goldberg. And so Drew has to take on Goldberg. I feel like that should have been the stipulation at Survivor Series. Whoever
loser
loses
faces Goldberg. Yeah.
Well, loser has to do the shit that winner doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
You got to go on Good Morning America.
Ugh.
Fine.
Hugh Longheavy. What really makes me feel bad is that my girlfriend bought me a WWE Network gift card for Christmas, but I have negative desire to watch WWE.
Dude, there's a ton of great stuff in their library.
That's not WWE at all. I
legitimately enjoy watching old Nitros, weird old Thunders. I like that stuff. Christopher Ampersad. In 20 years, where will the WWE be if they don't have their legends anymore and WWE leaves? They had made superstars today like they did in the 80s and 90s that can carry WWE in the future. I mean, they'll wheel out people that are popular today that are
just won't have the same effect.
They'll be, hey, Sheamus is coming back for Legends Night.
Oh, hooray. Aberson again. What if Goldberg beats Drew at the Rumble, then Drew enters the Rumble match, wins back-to-back, and faces Roman at Mania?
Wait, what if... I'm sorry, what? What was that?
Goldberg beats Drew. Drew then enters the Rumble, wins the Rumble again, and then faces Roman at Mania.
Oh. Dude, if they did something like that, I'd be into it. Because it's hey, that's different. That's weird. That's cool. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like when there's a sense of urgency, and when Becky entered herself in there. I thought that was great. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Let's see here. Tyler Spence, when do you think Keith Lee will get the heavyweight title, realistically? Within 18 months, I'd say.
Yeah, 2 years. Within 2 years. D. Hayes, SmackDown doesn't need the ratings bump, so they move Goldberg to Raw. And I hope we'll do Daniel Bryan and Roman at WrestleMania.
It could be that simple.
It really could be.
It could be that simple.
Mr. Forbes, says, the past year of Raws have all been a Hogan fever dream. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, there you
go. I'm just trying to do something that says Hogan was phoning it in.
There you
go. Captain Sin with the sub. Thank you very much.
I think we already answered this one. Moses Opposed says, you have to replace Goldberg with another WWE legend. Who do you pick? Booker T.
Booker T.
Yes. This is a good one. Eddie Brock's Venom. Out of all the legends or former superstars, which would you pick to do a top 5 of the highest egos, and it's all about me whenever they come back? Well, Hogan is like number 1 on that list.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, The Rock seems to have carte blanche over what he does when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes just sort of cringy, like some of the times he's done that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, they let him do what he wants, and so he does it. I mean, Hogan's really kind of the name.
Like, yeah, he's the one that really is the top of the list. And it feels like, people, if you're talking about, if it's a situation we're talking about legends stepping in and flexing their creative muscle, if you will, to get their way, you think Hogan first and foremost, but like if you're going back to the 90s, you think of the Clique, you think of like Kevin Nash too in WCW. There's examples of people who exerting the power they have backstage, how they see fit.
Well, this question specifically about like legends or former superstars.
Yeah,
I mean, Goldberg allegedly did pull that with the Fiend.
Yeah. 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 That is true.
Let's see here. Dero Hayes, out of all the legends that came back, who would you want to see come back as a manager, and what Raw superstar would you want them to manage? For him, he says he'd like to see heel Mark Henry with a heel Keith Lee.
Oh, that'd be good.
Just have Keith Lee join the Hurt Business. I saw a really cool fan-made poster of that the other day. I was like, man, I just want to see, like, I don't know, man. I would have popped way harder if, like, Drew wins the match clean tonight. And if there wasn't so much drama within the Hurt Business, this would have made more sense, but they're all, like, fighting each other now. Like, they come down and beat the crap out of, and maybe you set it up over the past couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
You have them maybe try to, on the very low key, try to recruit him. But they come down, beat the crap out of Drew, and bring Keith Lee into the Hurt Business, and he's he becomes whatever executive title MVP wants to put on him. I mean, I don't know. There's like Bobby Lashley is probably thinks of himself as the main guy there, but he's a United States champion. Hasn't really challenged for the world title lately. It's been a little while.
Well, since he's one of Drew's first opponents.
Was it after Mania?
It was shortly thereafter, Mania, yeah.
Yeah, but he's like firmly United States champion now. He's got his plate full. Yeah.
Jorge D, which WWE legend would still be huge today if they were active and in their prime? For example, would Savage still be a main eventer? Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. You don't see a lot of guys like that anymore. Like, Savage is such a strange fella,
Yeah, he was. I think he was a singular individual, and I think that's kind of...
You think he's timeless?
Yeah, he's larger than life, man.
Yeah, I don't know. He's such a weirdo.
He was a weirdo.
He was. I mean, could you imagine somebody showing up that looked like Hulk Hogan? Like now? Nobody looks like that anymore. Nobody looks like Macho Man anymore.
Yeah. I don't know, like, if Hogan could handle being in the ring today against current WWE wrestlers. If he wrestled like he did in WWE.
Yeah, well, yeah, but if he could wrestle like he did in New Japan.
If he could do that 300 days a year.
They don't wrestle 300 days a year anymore, man.
250, sorry.
You're talking about
50 extra days.
Well, these days they don't do that.
No, but I mean, like, does he mean active just in 2020 or just active in this current era?
Active in the COVID era. Exclusively in the COVID era.
Anyways, moving on. Rand Wildman.
Once a month.
So Goldberg falsely accused Drew of lacking respect towards legends when Orton was legit doing that exact thing all night. Make it make sense. You can't submit your brain to that degree of illogic and try to have it make sense.
It can't do stuff just doesn't make sense. That's the main problem. Even on SmackDown, stuff does make, like, by and large on SmackDown, stuff makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's weird. It all goes through the same guy. Vince is approving this Raw script same way he's approving the SmackDown scripts.
I don't get it.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Twitch chat, stick around. I think we have a raid, maybe?
We do.
All right, we'll see. Thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.